Hey everyone, welcome. I haven't posted a video in a while and I apologize for that. Real life gets a little busier during the summer, but hey, that's not why you're here. Today I wanted to share a build I'm working on, my self-chill Forbidden Rite Assassin. The idea started with some toying around in PoE to see how comfortably I could scale the damage avoidance on elusive to over 50%. With Mistwalker, the ascendancy notable from Assassin, it becomes rather easy. This build focuses on running maps quickly and safely while also dealing fairly high damage. That last part is not so present with my current gear, but we only have around 12 divines in the build at the moment. Our gems are not fully leveled or quality. We're only level 91. No cluster jewels yet. So there's lots of rooms for upgrade and further quality of life. I don't have any bossing footage yet, as I don't really trust the build to do bossing well without the AoE from the cluster jewel setup, so what you see in the background will be purely mapping. But don't worry, the bossing will come. So currently we are level 91. We still need a bit more mana reduction for our triggers and our skills. It feels pretty good right now, but of course with Anomalous GMP as well as Divergent Inspiration for the Divine Blessing setup, it's going to feel even better. So still waiting on that. We also will get the upgrade on my boots. I currently right now have the tier 2 upgrade for the reduction of mana costs on my enchant, but we'll get tier 1 of course. And yeah, mostly the mana problem was just fixed through rocking Eldritch Battery and then in conjunction with Ghost Dance. So I combined the two of those, and because we use a skill that hits us, we hit ourselves of course. That makes for very easy uptime of our energy shields and keeps it topped up pretty nicely. Some other stuff that we are lacking right now is mainly just going to be quality of life and damage. So pretty big things, of course, pretty big for our single target damage and also for our defenses. There's going to be a lot of scaling that comes into this build. Just for example, this is the POV of our current loadout right now. This is what I'm running, level 91 Forbidden Rite Assassin. This is the POV, and this is the only change here is that we have more levels, of course. So need to get the leveling, and then we have our cluster jewel setup. Other than that, there's not very many changes on the tree, and then the gear is the exact same setup. So I just need to get to here, and then we get to achieve this kind of a breakdown, which is, of course, much higher and much better. And our evasion rating and our armor will be actually in a much better spot because our gear, we can only assume will have at least some kind of armor and evasion scaling by then. The gear I POV'd, it doesn't have that. I just put on the mods that I knew I needed. So right now we're lacking 95% move speed. We're still lacking some AoE. We get this from the enchants on our weapon. We will grab this from the enchants pretty soon, but I don't have it just yet. We also are missing the Benchcraft on the gloves for AoE, missing the cluster jewel setup, of course. I don't have the best Eldritch mods on my gear. Some of my gear doesn't even have Eldritch mods. For example, we use a Warlord helm for the power charge, so we don't get any Eldritch mods there. However, I don't have this as a Woke Slammed helm yet, so we're still missing some damage there. And then on the gloves, I don't have the AoE. On the boots, we don't have the best, we don't have action speed. So there are quite a few things still missing in terms of Eldritch mods. Our gems are not fully leveled or quality either. So for example, like my main gem setup is all like level 19 gems without quality on the majority of them. Same thing goes for all our support guns and stuff. I just bought everything from Lily Roth, guys. I bought everything from Lily, and we went. I had very limited money when I was putting this together. I had about 12 to 13 divs, and just decided I was going to put this together. So, you know, don't shoot me that the setup is so scuffed right now. It will get better, I promise. So despite that, the build is still feeling really, really good. And of course, sustaining the skill and the trigger costs will get better with some additional levels and a couple fairly easy gear upgrades. So how it works is we essentially just stack power charges for crit and damage and our elusive effect through void batteries, our +1 power charge helm, and the badge of the Brotherhood is there to scale the elusive effect. We get 100% elusive effect from that amulet alone, so it's pretty important. We then also get some elusive effect scaling through Eldritch mods on the boots, from Mistwalker, a From the Shadows Anoint on our amulet. And the amulet is giving us just From the Shadows. Now, I know this is the attack speed with the daggers, just ignore that. It's really mainly for the 40% elusive effect. We also get some through Withering Step. So there's another like 40% or more that comes through Withering Step, which brings us to 354% increased elusive effect. We use Call of the Void and Winter Weave for self-chill shenanigans, and you will see those two here. With spell suppression on the gear, we achieve around 80 to 100% spell suppression. Right now, obviously, I only have 25. I don't have any spell suppression on like any of my gear. So other than the anointment for Inveterate, we don't have any spell suppression, and I haven't been able to take the spell suppression node on my tree yet. Now, some other things about the defenses. We get 52% damage avoidance. That's pure damage avoidance through elusive. Now, of course, elusive is a decaying effect, so that 52% is really only 52% while you're at 100% of your elusive effect. That effect starts to decay rapidly from the time you proc it. Now, because we're assassin and we proc elusive on every crit, and every single hit against a full life enemy or a low life enemy is a critical strike, we're able to keep that up pretty consistently, as well as using Withering Step in between to keep up our wither stacks and things like that. That also keeps up, it refreshes our elusive buff. So we get near 100% uptime on the elusive, as well as using Immortal Call in one of our trigger setups. This gives us 26% less elemental and physical damage taken, and then an additional 15% less ele and physical damage taken per endurance charge. We have 4 endurance charges in the build, so that makes for an additional 45% less damage taken. Berserk, which we also have, and the uptime on this is really, really good because of our Warlord's Mark that is also in a trigger. The Berserk adds for another 19% less damage taken, and then Call of the Void has a damage reduction through chill, which is bringing us another 15% less damage taken. We then have Fungal Ground, and that is another 10% less damage taken. So there is a total with our buffs up of 115% less damage taken. And yeah, that means we're pretty tanky when those buffs are up, which is pretty consistent. We also gain damage recouped as life. That is through, I think it's Infused Flesh. Yeah, Infused Flesh. So we're getting 30% damage taken recouped as life there, which feels actually really nice when you factor that in with Forbidden Rites damage, as well as any damage you're taking from outside sources. It starts to feel really, really nice at keeping your life top. We can pick up an additional 12% through jewels. We do have 2 jewels that are Cobalt jewels in the final setup, so that will allow us to pick up an additional 12%, which makes for 42%. It's not the over 50, I think it's like 52 or 58%. That's supposed to be like the pinnacle that you're kind of reaching for, but we can't quite reach there, but it'll still feel really nice. I'm quite certain. We also get a lot of life gain on hit and leech through our triggers. That's kind of a tech that was introduced to us from Rutu's self-cast version of the build. Quite a bit of the triggers that you'll see in this setup are what you would use in the traditional Forbidden Rite occultist build. There was only very few changes that I had made, but any of the changes I did made were simply in the name of more movement speed and things like that. So yeah, ultimately there's quite a few defensive layers in place there, and on top of that then we have our armor and evasion. We have around 23k armor, 11k evasion. B scale much higher. I'm assuming in the final build I can probably get the armor somewhere around 35, maybe even 40k with a better Watcher's Eye, and the evasion rating I can obviously pull up to around 20k as well. So that will feel really nice. The movement speed we've got right now is only 395, but the final build scales to well over 480. I've been able to POB over 500, but it's going to take some nicer gear to get there. So some future improvements that we are looking for is Anomalous Withering Step for the additional 2 wither stacks. We got to figure out a way to gain some additional wither stacks on top of that. Maybe figure out a way I can add enhance or some other way to gain quality on the gem. I don't really want to make use of the enchant on the helmet. I do want to reserve that for the additional proj on Forbidden Rite. So yeah, we'll have some working out to do there to get a few more wither stacks worked out. And then Defiance Banner, I'm hoping I can fit in at some point. I would really like to, but ultimately it's not a make or break. If I do, it's quite a bit of defense if I get it, but again, not a make or break for the build if I can't fit it in. Another thing would be grabbing Anomalous Blood Rage, and this will allow us to have frenzy charge generation against against bosses in arenas and things like that, which is obviously going to be really good. And I know it's only a 2% chance, but we have so many triggers and so many hits being done towards a single target at any given time that I don't imagine it will take too long to gain our full frenzy charge stacks. So other than that, we would obviously look for any more additional mana reduction that can be found. Things like Anomalous GMP, possibly an upgrade through our enchant on our boots, and what else, whatever else I can find for mana reduction. Of course, we're looking for a better Watcher's Eye, better jewels, quality for the gems, and getting them to level 20 or 21. I mean, there's so many upgrades to go in this build, and it's already feeling pretty damn good. I'm really excited to keep upgrading and keep grinding to get those upgrades. So if you want to join in and maybe see it in action, I will be streaming the build today. It starts at 4 o'clock Eastern time. And yeah, I'll be going till 9 o'clock. And then tomorrow I'll be going from 5 till 9, and the next day 5 till 9. So yeah, hopefully we'll get this thing off the ground. We'll get some cluster jewels in, and we will start blasting, guys. Really excited and can't wait to see you there. Take care and peace out.